Cause it's time to move on now. It's time for Murder Moose.
Hey everyone, welcome to Murder Moose.
Murder Moose.
I was like, Josh, like his timing with his come in Murder Moose is always like varying, and it's like if he's like super bouncing off the walls, it usually comes while I'm talking. But Josh is more chill today, so it was a little bit. That was that little delay. It was that Josh is like,
I'm like, I'm not
like-
chill. I'm more exhausted from being fucking emotional.
yeah. I mean, I understand that because I'm emotional constantly. But yeah, you got shit going, man, and it's, you know what? Fuck that shit. You and I are sitting here. We're getting to chill and talk about fucking crazy Marvel movies that are like horror movies and with some
Did you
pretty
s-
dope shit.
Have you seen that meme? It's like the Trojan horse, Sam Raimi going up to the gates.
And there's
Disney,
Evil Dead 4.
yeah, Evil Dead 4 inside the Trojan horse. It's so accurate though. Like
Dude, especially the third act. The third act of Multiverse of Madness is like a fucking Sam Raimi movie to like no end, and it's like you can really see. And I have like wonderings because I saw someone tweeting about it today, and they're like, "Yeah, you could definitely see where Disney's like, calm the fuck down with this." And it was like, yeah, it was Sam Raimi being Sam Raimi, man. But like, yeah,
the
it's gonna be fun to talk about this.
the
Yeah.
goofiness, definitely, and the jump scares. But like, you know, Ben and I went and saw this, and like I've seen, we went and saw like Evil Dead the musical together. We've seen everything to do with Sam Raimi. We're first in line to Drag Me to Hell, and like anything that he's put out in the last, well, however, we've seen it all together. So to like see that, it was something special, man. The amount of Sam Raimi like isms and callbacks to other movies and stuff that normal moviegoers are just gonna fly right past.
Yeah.
There's little pockets of the theater losing their minds, like the poster that if you're
Yeah.
on YouTube, you see I put the car, and it's just like this one scene, and it's like it's only a spoiler if you actually like Sam Raimi and Evil Dead, and that car is in every one of his movies, just like fucking Bruce Campbell is as well. So
dude,
of course you're gonna see those things.
So Evil Dead didn't come out till what, 81, but it was filmed in 78, and like that car has been in every single film since then.
Yeah.
And it's like Sam Raimi is just like, it's one of those, he's one of those directors, man, that like it's like Quentin Tarantino, where it's like
you have that cast of characters that are going to be, you know, if it's a Quentin Tarantino movie that, you know,
but
one of those people, Tim Roth or Leonardo DiCaprio at this point now is going to be in it, that type of stuff, right?
Well, then you look at things like, and it makes me it makes me think of Taika Waititi and his stuff too, and like how Mary Poppins y'all's going to be in every single one of his movies, and it's
Kevin
like,
Smith too.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, man. It's you get these actors who they just know whatever they give them, they're going to come in and nail it. But yeah, so this is it was gonna be a
Christopher
fun
Nolan too. Actually, they all have their like go-to people, and
Christopher Nolan is like, oh yeah, I got Leo signed up for anything that I do. Is Leo's gonna automatically, not completely, but yeah, that's what it feels like these days, right? It's like, yeah,
Leo wants to be in all the top.
Oh, Leo, man, that man, I still have that thing where Hollywood, what do you call it? Quentin's with Leo, and what is it called? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that stuff was like, it's such a cool thing because you see like what Leo's been doing for 30 years, and then what Quentin's been doing for 30 years, and it's just like, oh, this is cool. And we're getting on. Is 92 that is it, or is it 93 that like we're getting on? Like Quentin's been making movies 30 years at this point, right? And so yeah, it's. You see a lot of things. I mean, but Leo's been making films since the 80s. Like, we go back to like What's Eating Gilbert Grape and shit like
Basketball
that, right?
Diaries.
Yeah. I've never seen that. I've never seen a lot of his early dramatic stuff that's like kind of put him on the map, right? I mean, you and I like he got like publicly wide big. That was a sentence, everyone.
I don't.
Would you think of
I
like
really want to
Titanic, right?
like. I want to like go back and like see when I really got into movies because like there's so many like actors and other like filmmakers and stuff that I've like deep dove into their
Yeah.
like catalogs like so long ago too and like own them because you go well you used to be able to go to Blockbuster and there was
Yeah.
like the $5 bin or the $10 bin and that type of
Yeah.
stuff and I would find like gems in there the
Yeah.
previously viewed like you'd have all the ones that just came out that are like whatever they're just crappy movies but
Yeah.
then you'd find like just weird ones where it's like, oh, hey, that's Leo. Like I own Basketball Diaries,
Yeah.
and I think that's honestly how I got it. It's I remember when I first started the collecting thing and being in movies and stuff, and I wanted my collection to be like the purest collector's collection. So like
Yeah.
always had to have the slip cover and that type of stuff. And if I was filling out my collection with like Blockbuster DVDs that were previously viewed and had the stickers on it, I was like, ew, this is like, and this isn't like, I don't know, this isn't the real thing. But now that I haven't fucking touched my physical media library in so long because everything is just so much easier when you stream it, blah, blah, blah. But when I go there now, nostalgia kicks in so much because I love the physical media. Just
Yeah.
having it, I never want to get rid of it. But the ones I love the most now are the ones that have the Blockbuster shit all over it. And it's
Yeah.
seriously, like, it's just that
Yeah.
thing, right? It's like, oh my God. And so, like,
Yeah.
in Canada, we had Rogers Video, and that's like one of our cell phone providers. I don't know how there was a Rogers Video, but like,
Yeah.
those are even like more rare. And they had like, I don't know, it's just those things, right?
It's all the stuff, man, where I think of like the kids growing up now will never understand what it was like to go into a video store and just go, "What the fuck?" And like, we finished up
The American
season.
Psycho thing. I
Yeah.
have videotapes.
Where are you going? I gotta return the videotape. It's like
Yeah.
that's like they even include that stuff in the new Ice Nine Kills song about the about American Psycho, and it's just like just nailing it. And I when we finished up we binged season 3 of Stranger Things a couple weeks ago, and at the end they go to Family Video, and Family Videos were all over Ohio, and like that's all takes place in Indiana, right? And Family Video though, like that was the place I went to in college where I was like, oh, I'm gonna run a porno giggity, because it was like you could still like
Oh,
get
the back
porn and
room
stuff.
shit.
Yeah, the back room, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, because like that was like back then when you were still like you were like illegally downloading porn like movies or like the websites were like what they are now, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Pornhub, or, it's like that kind of stuff, and it was like so we still did that, and so that even was nostalgic. I'm like, man, this is like that experience is just like overall it's like all over the place, and it's not like now where you can put 5 minutes into something and go, nah, I don't feel it. It's like you used to rent something, you'd be like, oh man, I paid for this. And it's like when
I loved that though, man. You get the 5-pack, you save money if you get 5. It's like 2 new releases and 3 old ones, and that was the weekend special, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Going home with a stack, I was like, I'm gonna have a fucking great weekend, even though one of them is Smurfs for some fucked up reason.
Well, dude, well, it's funny because like I feel like the newest thing, like the even closest thing that even exists anymore, and I don't even know how much longer they go because of COVID, but like going to the red boxes, right? Like, and you're like, when you didn't want to pay.
There's still some like outside of some like grocery stores around here, but
yeah. I think just what happened though, like as soon as COVID happened, no one was gonna fucking touch those things. They're like, nah, man, fuck this. I'm not gonna go touch the COVID machine. But I like even go into that and be like, oh, there's like something just came out on Blu-ray or something that I really wanted to see, and you don't want to pay, $20 for it on, Amazon or whatever.
now you just text me.
Yeah. That's what I did last night. I'm like, Josh, can you put this movie on the
was that last night? I thought that was today. Well, it's there.
No.
There you go.
It was last night. Yeah.
I didn't even see it.
My wife was trying to use your flex,
Yeah.
Josh. I need a flex, Josh. And it wasn't working. Oh, look at that. Also, Um, I want to. Your shirt is going to bring up discussion when we get into spoilers from this movie. Okay, that's a side point. Um, so what else is going on, man? You've been going. They had this shit going on, but like it's interesting because one we're gapping way harder than we usually do for this podcast because we usually
Watch the
you and I
movie like
usually
yesterday type thing.
yeah
Yeah. I
yeah
saw it
and
on Thursday last week.
and that's we had kind of talked about doing it yesterday and you couldn't do it and so like I'm gonna be make sure I don't miss any silly things with this film, but yeah.
I'm not too worried about it, man. Like that's the thing. Like when you brought up, "Oh, I want to do this earlier." And I was like, "So we can get a jump start." And I was like, "I used to worry about that stuff." I feel like
Yeah.
this is pretty fucking early anyways. I don't
Yeah.
think it's ever well, no. I don't want to say that. I don't think it is going to do as much as it would take away at this point
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to do it on a separate day or to not have the schedule and it only get us like an extra one view, it's like, man,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
like
not worth it. It's
no.
yeah, I mean, it's always good to talk about that shit, right? Like, it's like going, would it be worth it? And like, it's one of the things that I love doing this with you. Is like we don't, both of us are like, we'll just like talk stuff like that, and if neither one of us is feeling it, it's not a big deal, right? And it's like, because this whole thing is about doing something for fun, and that's all that really matters, right? So, yeah, um,
Seeing you and having like that's the thing. That's what I've always been consistent with for literally 12, 13, maybe longer years. Cuz I started on you know, the internet with the rebrew stuff. We called it
yeah,
the rebrew because we were reviewing out of a 6-pack of beers. And our whole
yeah,
goal in life was to get sponsored. We did that, but we came up with the show because every time we would see a movie, we'd be the assholes right outside the bathrooms,
yeah,
standing there for an hour talking instead of going to like a restaurant or something, having a drink, sitting down, and we would just stand there and like
yeah,
we all are huge into film, either like amateur filmmakers ourselves, most of us,
yeah,
and that type of stuff. And it was just like it was interesting conversation. It's the
yeah,
love of something that we all love and we all
yeah,
have something to give. And I've been consistent with that with different people and to find more people like you in the world. We've never met in real life, but we
yeah,
have this love for one another through our love of horror movies and like it's something that transcends space
yeah.
and
Yeah, when we
countries.
talked about it, I'm gonna come visit Josh in the near future if the world doesn't like shut down completely. I've been so exhausted at work the last like 6 months since like basically Christmas time. As soon as we came back to work, I'm like at this point, I'm like, okay, I'll take a day off here. I'll take a day off here. Like, and I
Yeah.
still have like so much vacation. Like, I'm taking Monday off to go to Meow Wolf, which are these like crazy art installations that like they have them in different places. Like one's in Vegas and one's in like Arizona or something like that. But there's one in Denver that opened up at the end of last year, and I haven't been to get to go. And you like buy tickets, but you buy tickets in time slots. So it's like we're going at 11 o'clock on Monday, and it's gonna be cool though. So it's like stuff like that, and just like yeah, it's just reasons to go. And I'm like, man, I love Josh, and he's the coolest motherfucker. So I'm gonna just come up there some weekend and we're just gonna go to movies and like be goofballs, and it's gonna be a good time. So,
Hell yeah,
um,
let's do it.
what else then before we get into this weirdo movie?
Do a
I
podcast in the same room?
yes, we'll definitely do that. Definitely do that. It'll be a good time. Maybe like record us watching it or something like that too. So besides, it's funny because like obviously this movie took over and made bajillions of dollars over the weekend.
Of course it did. It's Marvel, but it's
Yeah.
also I heard that Doctor Strange is gonna like fuck off from the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. It's like, yeah, for like a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense because I mean this movie between this one and the first one was like 7 years. Like it will be they have certain characters that they hit and they don't like go back to for a while. Like Captain Marvel has been going on for a while now too.
Well, but
and
he was just in the last one as like a pivotal character, and like the
and
whole
Spider-Man,
yeah. So like I don't know the way this ends, and the way it kind of bookends two bigger characters from the first
yeah. It was, and I'll say,
stuff.
I'll talk about it when we get into spoiler stuff. But like, there was stuff in this movie. I, I, I think I expected larger scale things than ended up happening, and a lot of reasons, and that's whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
To be honest,
there were things that I was expecting, and there was one appearance that I was like, oh yeah, I hope this happens, and that
and
didn't
Twitter
happen.
just fucking goes to town with the hashtags to just like spoil the shit out of everything.
Dude, I have to say, man, if you're on fucking social media ruining shit for people before, like, especially now in a world we live in fucking 2022, there's still plenty of people who don't feel safe going to the theaters. It was like people going out and like, what? Dude, I'm still convinced that there was a fucking Twitter trailer for this film that popped out like on the Super Bowl that had a character in it that got and they only showed it once and then they deleted it, and then they go, oh, because people are like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I swear to God, I saw this. I felt, oh, it was crazy and then the person was in the film, and I'm like, so I did see that. What the fuck is going on? They ruined it themselves, and you're like, what the fuck is going? I don't know, man. Like, it was weird, but people are such fucking buttholes and like ruining things for people, and I don't get it, man. Like, the world we live in is fucking scary right now, and like, why are you trying to just remove joy from people for no fucking reasons besides that you're a piece of shit, right? Like, what's the fucking point? Why are you going out there and going?
Yeah, but it was
Yeah,
like a full-on hashtag that was trending and stuff.
I didn't see the hashtag specifically because
like full-on trending. Like number one trending was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Then something about Fantastic Four right underneath it, and then something about like I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
dude,
like
fuck that, man.
A trending hashtag right underneath. It's like, oh man, they're really
so. Before we get into it, then there's one other thing you just reminded me, and one of my favorite things. Like, you're talking about how like people are shitheads. So there's a streamer named Brian Kibler who is a Magic player, and I encountered him watching Hearthstone streams back in the day, and he had a little Pomeranian named Shiro, who everybody loved. This dog was fucking epically amazing, and he used to post videos of him like waking him up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get breakfast and shit. And the Shiro died on Sunday, and the dog was 16 years old when he died. And Brian was he was fucking like destroyed, but everyone loved this dog so much from him being on stream and videos and everything. The dog Shiro, the name Shiro, the word Shiro was trending on Twitter. That's how like many people had been affected by this dog, and I was like, this is the fucking coolest shit in the world, and it made me smile that like that this dog is like, touching that many people's lives, and it's like it makes you go, well, I know that Gizmo isn't Shiro size, but like, Gizmo brings joy to a lot of people when they see him and his tomfoolery and his little bullshit like temper tantrums and everything that Gizmo does. So that made me smile. So that made me happy. So. Okay.
Gizmo's the best.
Gizmo is pretty cool, except when he's crazy. He goes in. We say he's Hulk because he like has rage issues at times. We're like, Gizmo, and so then we call him Bruce Banner. But yeah, okay, let's get into this, and we're gonna talk. Yeah, as we always do. If you're new here and have it, whatever. We'll talk about this as non-spoilery, and then warn you when it is spoilery, so we don't ruin anything. And I just assume that if you're listening,
that's the spoiler sound.
If you're listening, I assume we assume you've watched it anyways, but we're trying to be preserve the joy of cinema for you. Like Josh is talking about hashtags, ruining things. So like
it's so weird nowadays. Like you think I felt like the whole world was on the same page with Spider-Man. No. Don't tell anyone. It's too big. It's too awesome. I felt it in the theater. It hit me hard. We went and saw it the day before it came out anyways, but that's what we fucking do because that's the movie lovers we are. We're on a different level. But I felt like that whole thing didn't come out for a long, long time after the movie came out. And I was very impressed with the internet with that movie. This one, on the other hand, the very day it came out, I'm like, what the fuck? Everyone's just back to being shitty.
Marvel didn't do themselves any fucking favors, and that's a lot to do with like the trailers, right? And I'm gonna mention a thing that's like whatever that was in the trailer. Professor Xavier's in this movie, but the problem is they fucking show him in the trailer. They don't show his face, but they show the back of his head and they give you his voice. You know he's in the fucking film. Like I feel like that was something they didn't need to do. Like,
well, my poster is kind of a spoiler.
I mean, I have to.
If you know the comic books, like that's what I also overly love about seeing Marvel movies with Ben. He's been an actual comic book collector and reader forever. He knows all the storylines, where they could potentially go, what is potentially happening. And every time something or is about to happen, he leans in and goes, oh, that's from this and this and this and blah, blah, blah. This could lead to that. I'm like, oh, I don't fucking know that. But now I do because I'm watching him Ben and he knows all of it.
And this movie had some deep cuts with that because, I'm not spoiling anything. There's a character that appears in the mid-credit sequence, and I'm like, "Who the fuck is this?" And it's like you're like, but the hardcore comic. Look, I have a base knowledge of a lot of comic stuff just from like casually being around it and like watching cartoons and movies and other stuff, but like. It's like Doctor Strange is not the most like well-known character. Like, I mean, he is. I mean, he's a big character now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But like before that and before he came in, I don't think people knew much about him at all. Right? Like he was more of a. I'm gonna pop up on a random episode of a Spider-Man animated cartoon or whatever, or the cartoons of like the Avengers stuff and stuff like that. And it's like kind of like what Constantine was like for DC, right? Where Constantine was.
I would love for them to just like randomly go back into that universe with Keanu again. That movie was so underrated in my books.
Yeah, dude.
You know what else is super underrated movie that just like on your like Google TV or I guess your Apple, but they have the like random shit on the front page that's like recommended and blah 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 stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Waterworld, man. Everyone hates on that movie so much. I grew up fucking loving that movie, man. And then when I went to Universal Studios as a kid and they had the whole like live Waterworld experience, it was dope. Why does everyone hate on that movie so much? Well, I guess he is like very misogynistic the entire time, actually, now that I think about it. But
I haven't seen that movie. Dude, me and my little brother, who's like 2.5 years younger than me, went and saw that movie in theaters, and I was like 13 when it came out. I was like 94 or something like that.
Costner just being a dick.
Like that. It was like whenever that movie came out, I was like pretty young, and that was the only time I remember having fun with it. But it was like Dennis Hopper is like over the top, like Dennis Hopper is always over the top. Like you go back to like things like Blue Velvet and shit like that, where like, he's just like completely nuts. And Dennis Hopper, man, he's like when Dennis Hopper's crazy in films, he could be really entertaining, and he was really crazy in that movie with his weird eye makeup and shit like that. But yeah, so like. Let's
wait. Before we go any further, we have to talk about the thing that everyone's been waiting for fucking 12 fucking years to see anything. And it was screened the first trailer, the first look at fucking Avatar. And how fucking underwhelming was that bullshit?
Dude, I'm like sitting there going, what made me laugh about it, because I said it to my wife, I'm like, they give so little about a story that there's like 10 words of dialogue in the trailer. It's just look at everything's pretty.
Is that it? Like I understand he spent years and years and years, because the main thing, because I don't know if you watch like the Corridor Crew on YouTube, all the like behind the scenes of special effects and everything, like so good. But they've said the hardest thing for CG artists in forever ever is water and how it whatever. I felt
Yeah.
like the Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings fucking killed it with all their water they did with the dragons and everything. But I see how much realism has gone into this water. But at the same time, I don't give a fuck because it's still on Avatar. Who fucking cares? That movie sucked.
It was so Avatar was just that cool thing. There's a couple things here. One, the trailer was completely underwhelming, like I said.
Yeah.
Two, I have a hard time betting against James Cameron, to be completely honest, especially with
Yes.
sequels. And but like, I don't know.
I don't
who's
think
making
it's
these
not going to
trailers.
blow up
Yeah.
or not be huge. I'm just saying, who fucking cares?
Yeah. Well, dude, it's gonna be people are gonna go see it, but like, dude, you're trying to build this fucking cinematic universe. Like they did 3 more films or whatever the fuck they did with this, and it's just like, dude. I mean, I know Disney money's behind it, but come, I don't know, man. It's
You know that this is the first of like way too many, like because
Yeah.
they got Cameron money, Cameron
Yep.
budget,
and
and
Disney money.
Cameron marketing budget, and
I-
Disney marketing budget. It's just
I
going to
feel
be like we're going to be over.
What? So I feel like it was 2 films when Disney bought Fox, and then it turned into 3. I'm not completely sure. Also,
It's 5, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't fucking know, to be completely honest. You know what else is funny about this? The only person who's like done any like that motherfucker from Terminator and the first one did so many shitty movies that he has completely fallen off the only guy still in these movies like that's still alive, I think, is like Steven, what do you call him? The guy from Don't Breathe and stuff like that. Like he's the only
Oh,
one
yeah.
acting all the time. Like fucking no one else is like the main character is what do you call him? And you go, that guy who Hollywood tried so hard to make that thing fetch. He was like Hollywood's like, we're gonna make him fetch. And then he just his complete lack of charisma,
Mhm.
like 7, 8 times in a row. It was just like, they're like maybe we can't make fetch happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just like they tried real hard with that motherfucker.
Well, but he's attached still to fucking Avatar, so it doesn't
I
matter.
mean, he is. All I'm saying is that he's not like the. I mean, but the fucking point is now it doesn't matter because now he's just a giant blue motherfucker, right? Like it doesn't like. I don't. It's another film. I just talked about Waterworld. I haven't watched Avatar since the theater. Not once have I watched Avatar.
I bought it on Blu-ray to see, like, that's the thing that James Cameron was able to do back then.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
3D is this like this gimmicky bullshit thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it not a fucking gimmick. I'm gonna make it an immersive experience like I believe it can be, and then
that
I'll
was the only-
show you.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone was so fucking blown away. He had something. He had something new. He had something.
He was
And
And he was the only
now,
one to do
what
it,
does he
though.
have?
Well, dude. That
Oh
3D
wait,
in
wait, wait!
that movie-
I have to
Yeah.
say that there's the 4D experience. I don't know if you have any of those theaters around
No,
you.
I've never been to one.
Ben thought he bought IMAX tickets, and we were so pumped to go and see it in IMAX because I love seeing IMAX films because it's so massive, right?
I've
Sound
never
is
been to an
amazing.
IMAX movie.
What?
I've never been to an IMAX.
Well,
movie.
it's made by a Canadian, so it's like it originated in Canada, and I've been
Yeah.
going to IMAX films since. But like we were so stoked because it's a smaller theater but a bigger screen, so there's less people to fucking be in the way.
Yeah.
And then we go in, and there's like no one there, and they're cleaning up. He's like, "Well, what time is it at?" And he looks. He's like, "Oh fuck, I fucked up. Accidentally got 4DX tickets." And that's the one where not just your seat moves. The entire row of seats is a fucking roller coaster. There's
Yeah.
fans, there's smells that get sprayed on you, there's strobe lights, and there's fog machines, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like you're going to eat your popcorn, and all of a sudden, like you're literally getting thrown around that hard, and there's like mini fans that blow these like scents that are supposed to be like a nostalgia,
Yeah.
to bring your senses into it, and it's this weird smell that isn't anything, but it only comes on when certain characters are on, so your senses put that together too. But this little kid, like teenage kid, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 or something, was sitting beside me, and every time the fan blew, He hadn't showered in like well over a week, and his BO was just destroying the movie for me. I'm like, this experience isn't as fun as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, dude, that's basically if you go to any of the theme parks now, that's what all the rides are now. It's like really what they
40X.
turned
Yeah.
into. Yeah, it's like I remember going to Universal and you have the Minions ride and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff, right? So,
So
yeah,
that I had to bring that up too, because like that was my experience with this movie, and all the like fight sequences, like at the very beginning of the movie where they're jumping around and blah, like it was too much.
I have to say, because again, in a spoiler, I was kind of surprised with the Doctor Strange doing the hand-to-hand combat at times in this film. It was a little, intriguing, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't expect it coming because you don't expect Doctor Strange getting into fist fights, and yet he does in this film. But
See,
yeah,
I like just to like cover the whole thing. I felt like what you said, that my expectations because of the trailer, I thought they were going to dive more into a few different things that literally felt brushed over, especially the different universes. Like the amount of jumping that happened in this movie was awesome, but they just go right through as like a transition or like a montage of these different places, and they only really showcase like three different places, and it left me wanting more of the multiverse. I felt like there's more multiverse in Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was for scale wise, the film was like not again. I think we build up expectations, right? So I don't ever want to think that anyone to think that we're shitting on this. No, that's not it.
Fuck
what I'm saying
no.
is no. It's going in with expectations expectations suck, man. Because like when you build something up to the point where like something could never meet expectations, and that's not this film, but like you get in your head that you're like, oh, this is gonna be this character's gonna show up, this is gonna happen, and when some of that stuff doesn't happen, it's like, oh man, and it's not anyone's fault besides your own, right? Like it's your own like imagination going wild, right? I do have to say this is a fucking Sam Raimi film, like to the core though too, because I wanted to say that when we were talking about this as like non-spoilery, like he's doing some metal shit in this movie, including like the most brutal death I've seen in any Marvel movie, which was
like back to back to back to back to back too. I was like, this is fucking brutal. Like they're just like they're being ruthless on these deaths, and like it felt very hard PG-13 at times, and I was like, oh no, like if kids that all just got to see Spider-Man and that were very much looking forward to expanding on that, this is potentially going to scare the shit out of a few kids.
Yeah,
I fucking love it, to be honest, because like it's just a blip enough to actually get a real scare out of a kid. But this movie could be that movie, man. That tentpole movie that makes kids horror fans. Which I don't see anything wrong with that.
It's a transitional movie. Like it's a movie that gets people interested in horror. It's like you look at things like stuff we've talked about. Love and Monsters is a good one.
Yeah.
Things like
that's more like your girlfriend's actually gonna want to watch it with you, and then like a monster movie.
But then things like Happy Death Day, right? Things like that stuff, like the stuff that is that PG-13. But like we knew Sam Raimi could push PG-13 horror though. Like fucking Drag Me to Hell is brutal as shit for a fucking PG-13 movie. That shit with the goat and all that stuff and like all that stuff.
I've never been more scared of a handkerchief. Like what the fuck?
Also, the thing that fucking Raimi does to fucking manipulate the system, he fucks with you with bodily fluids that aren't blood, right? Like in like the old lady and all the old gaggy shit in that movie. And this movie, it's got like the oil, which is all they used oil to look like blood in the trailers. They do that stuff. He works around stuff, and it's like even that
she's covered on her face, and it looks it is blood. It is blood, essentially, but it's not blood. Like it's Disney, and she's covered in black goo, but it looks
Yeah.
like blood.
Well, even the end of that first sequence of the film, like the first action sequence of the film, with how that concludes, is like, oh, like my wife like even made a noise. I don't know, like yeah, they don't fuck around, man. Like if this is the kind of movie I feel like is like the, the this is like you compare it to things like Gremlins and Raiders of the Lost Ark, the stuff that were being made in the 80s that pushed the PG-13 label, right? And Sam Raimi, dude, the man has been making horror films for longer than I've been alive. Like both of us have been alive. Like Evil Dead shot in 79 or 78, whatever it was. And you go, this man has been doing this stuff, and it's it 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 makes me wonder we talked about this on the podcast. Like I don't know if you were there when Jerry and I talked about what do you call it, Peter Jackson and Brain Dead, Dead
Yeah.
Alive, and we were
I'm
talking about it in that episode. We were
sad
like,
I
how
missed that, man.
yeah
Like that was I have like I went out of my way at a horror con a few years ago to get like Brain Dead shit. I got a shirt and I was looking for
Yeah.
like an original Brain Dead, like because Dead Alive is what it got turned into. I was looking for like
Yeah.
original like covers of Brain Dead and stuff because who the fuck I am. I
Yeah.
like that knowledge of stupid shit that
Yeah.
nobody fucking cares about. It's just like, no, I own the original because I'm a fucking.
But why I bring it up though is you see what Peter Jackson has turned into, and you compare it
Yes.
to Sam Raimi, and
and he's still
Peter
doing
Jackson- yeah
the fucking guitar in this was the goofiest part because it is so Sam Raimi, but it does two things. It made me laugh out loud, but it's doing it successfully to make you feel like you're not supposed to laugh at it, but I was just like, Raimi, you're fucking hilarious. Like this is it's so goofy.
Sam Raimi and his I'm going to attack you with a camera. Like if you're not like as soon as a camera attacks someone, you go, oh, this is a Sam Raimi movie, and like it's very like he does those weird like it's just like
the shaky
weird,
cam, like
the shaky cam, but it's very, very, very Sam Raimi. Like no one else has ever done shaky cam like that. Like I don't think
they they did. They just sped it up differently, and they used the exact same technique in Star Wars for the land speeder scenes. They attach the camera to like a fence board, and that's what makes it like go back and forth like that. But Sam Raimi still does it to this day, more jerky, but he did it on like a fence board, and that's how he got that like Evil Dead look back in the day, going through the woods and stuff. So it's part of his bag of tricks, but it's also part of his style now. Like I was showing my sister my posters last night on my website, and as she's flicking through, she's like, oh, seeing like all of them kind of together like this, you really see the style that you are kind of putting on this type of thing. And I'm like, like these are like my bags of tricks that I like to go to. These are that's my thing. So like to see and to know that movie filmmaking is an art form, and if you're known for something, and have fans like us, like I'm a huge super fan of Sam Raimi, so it's just it's a high five to us in the audience.
Yeah, dude, it makes me laugh because like you talk about tricks, and I think it's like J.J. Abrams and his stupid lunch
but that's one of his bags of tricks, right?
So I think of like Sam Raimi being one of those film directors that like when I was a teenager working at Best Buy, where I was like I really like remember buying like Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness in those VHS clamshells, and how much it affected me at that point, because I had never seen those films, and I was just like I knew what Evil Dead was. I just had never seen it because it's the same thing. Like you couldn't instant access this shit back in the day, and how much that meant to me as like diverging into like that was kind of like my connection into what like the early 2000s when I started like getting real into Japanese horror and Japanese weird movies. And like Raimi was my gateway drug to a lot of this stuff, and like just because he does stuff so like I look at the Evil Dead movies, and I talk about The Frighteners. The Frighteners is another film I just
Oh, so
distinctly
good.
remember watching in the theaters, and just how much like the practical effects, and then it's that love of practical, and then the CG being whatever, but like all that stuff coming together and just making me who I was when it comes to appreciating film in horror. And Sam Raimi just has such a big thing. And then like obviously Spider-Man. I mean, the Spider-Man 1, 2, and even 3, like those films made such a big. I mean, there would be no Marvel Cinematic Universe if it wasn't for Sam Raimi.
But
There
I
would be
also
none.
I have to bring up the fact that like I felt like yes, he was still here. You could definitely have the high five moments. Um, but I felt like the scares that he was able to get away with
Yeah,
back in the day when it was just Sony for Spider-Man 2, that whole like
the
operating
surgery
scene,
scene. Yeah,
surgery scene
yeah,
is a short horror film done
yeah,
so well, so terrifying, and like actually scarier than this whole movie and every scare in it. There's some like very successful jump scares in this movie, but as a whole on, it's not overly that scary because of my main gripe with the movie, the lighting. They
yeah,
Disneyified it and made it very light,
yeah,
like so it was less scary. And like
yeah,
a lot of the like things that he was attempting to do scare wise, I was totally taken out of it because it was such flat lighting. There was just like lights everywhere, but it just like you said, it was green screen lighting, and
yeah.
it just
You can tell at
it's
times.
yeah, it's like bad tell at
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
And I was like, this is taking me out of the movie. I want to be more scared.
yeah,
Take out the lights, like have it be look. I got a whole bunch of lights, but I'm still in the dark. You know,
yeah,
like I like
yeah,
seeing dark in
yeah.
horror stuff.
Well,
So
dude,
yeah.
it works so. But like the problem ends up being with all these films, because it was the same thing with Black Widow. Your hair ends up being that weird connection between anyone, because like the light bounces off of it funny, and like it's always the hair. Like it's always the hair of characters, because it's where you're meeting it, and it's so hard to like it's
I
all these
notice it more
weird.
when there's like an explosion behind them, and they don't like. I know how. Well, for me, I
Yeah,
know how lenses accept light, and
yeah,
that's why I love Dune so much. Like you
yeah,
do a side by side between like everything Dune did for special effects and green
yeah,
screening. They didn't use them. They used all the sand colored screens, but also like an explosion would happen, and the it would be a silhouette instead, because that's how a lens and like the sensor of a camera would accept the light. Everything would go to silhouette. Whereas in Black Widow, an explosion happens and her face stays like this.
yeah. Well,
Hey,
dude,
I'm perfectly lit.
it, to me, I mean, honest, it's so
I'm
weird
gonna do
because
the rest of the
like,
episode like this.
to be fair, man, like Dennis Villeneuve, or however you say his name,
He's
is
amazing.
literally his Arrival was one of my favorite
Oh,
cinematic experiences ever in the theater, and made me cry like a baby. That movie,
yeah,
I will
same.
never shut up about that movie because of the themes in that movie and what it did to me and my wife.
I love
Um,
non-linear storytelling always too. Like
yeah,
the
but
way that it jumps to
yeah,
tell the story, and then that's also part of the story.
yeah,
Oh,
dude,
mwah.
he's a he's a cinematographer that like wouldn't Blade everything you could say that is off with Blade Runner 2049. That movie has one of like the shots that has stuck in my head as a movie lover more than anything, with Gosling being on that bridge, and the fucking
Oh
big
my god,
the
yeah.
the big like image being projected from him is probably the most beautifully shot scene in
It's
like any film in the last 10 years, and it's
I
like
no, but to go down as like iconic, and
yeah,
like it's gonna like be one of those shots, one of those things that it it's gonna I don't know. It's just it's iconic for like decades and
yep,
decades. Like it's
yeah.
gonna just stand the test of time. But
I
the movie isn't, because it was too avant-garde and
yeah,
too long, and people didn't get it. And I understand all those gripes with the movie, it's still a piece of art, though.
Yeah,
Like,
I still really enjoyed it, and I understand that. I did a podcast when I was still like that came out in like what it was 2017, but with my friend Ridiculous Hat, and we just sat down and talked about it, and it was just like it was so much fun because that film, you want to get to like movie nuts talking about movies, go put that film on because of everything in it. It's just it might
see,
not be for the masses, but man, it is a masterpiece of like making movies, so
but for me, because me and my band mates and all that, we did like, the whole
yeah, Blade Runner
like
album.
Blade Runner was a huge thing for us, and we did the whole album concept around it, and we watched it a shit ton of times. And the thing that I overly loved about the first one was how gritty and how much of a dystopian future it actually looked like on screen as well. And I
Yeah.
felt like the new one was too clean. That was my main gripe with the movie. I was like, everything looks too perfect. There's no punk rock grit to this like the first one had in every shot. It looked dirty. It looked grimy, and almost no shots
I mean,
had that aesthetic.
That's Ridley Scott. How Ridley Scott.
I
makes
know, but
films
I
that
felt
are,
like it was
dirty and, yeah.
it pissed me off that it was too perfect, and it
Yeah.
made me hate the movie on a weird level. But I don't hate the movie. I just hated how perfect it was.
Yeah. I like to say though, like even like the green screen stuff, like we were talking about it before we started recording. That was our big like you and I's like gripe with the film. It was like that was the only thing, and it's not a big gripe at all. The film is just it
Oh.
works. It's I was gonna say it. Go
It
ahead.
works. No, it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hear people complaining about it, and it sounds like everyone who complains about this film is complaining because it isn't the exact same as every other Marvel movie, and I just don't get it. I don't.
But that's
get
my favorite part about this movie.
That's
And
why.
the most Sam Raimi part, actually, I think, is
third act.
the
The third act is
no, the
just pure
reflections.
Sam Raimi. Oh yeah.
when she's coming through, that was creepy, and they're
Yeah.
like running away from the puddles and stuff like that. It reminded me of Drag Me to Hell. Reminded me of like she was a demon now. She wasn't like, and it came across like that felt like a Sam Raimi, like that felt like Evil Dead 4 right there.
Yeah. It was. I mean, that third act is. It hits so many surprises, and it's the most like the rest of the film has Sam Raimi, but like he goes full Sam Raimi in that third act, and there's so many cool things that I really really love, and it's like things that I was not expecting to happen in that third act that I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, and then just like I don't know how many people can pull off the makeup in this film is fucking wonderful. Like the you see it in the trailer, so the zombie
Third eye.
Strange
Oh,
looks
yeah.
so fucking cool.
But this is the first Marvel movie to introduce like a new main character, like that's probably going to be like pivotal for the move forward of
Yeah.
Marvel.
So
America chat what was her name?
America Chavez is her
Yeah.
name.
Cool
she's got-
character.
Yeah, the power is fucking amazing, and
Yeah.
she goes pretty hard at the paint. Elizabeth Olsen acts her balls off this whole film. Like
She's
how
so good, man.
She's always been good, man. Like ever since Marcy May Marlene, I'm just like this woman can act her balls off, and
I
like
have such a big crush on her.
she's beautiful, and she doesn't come across as like a giant like. Look at like I compare her to Jennifer. What do you call her? Hunger
Yeah.
Games, and you go. This girl started off doing these really indie like movies that she did and winning Academy Awards for them, and then like just started doing shit that you could tell was just for money. She hated doing the X-Men movies. She hated like whatever the Hunger Games stuff, and like and you compare it to Elizabeth Olsen, who just completely embraces things and just goes fucking all in with it, and you go and like compare their careers, and it's just like I don't know, man. Elizabeth Olsen is she's a talented lady and she kills it in this movie, and her weird accents go bouncing all over the places at different times
Yeah.
are just wonderful. And
I
her
loved
character,
WandaVision too. It was so
yeah,
good.
yeah, man. There was stuff from that film I also kind of expected to come up that didn't, which
The TV
I'm
show, you mean?
it'd be interesting. What?
The TV show?
Things from WandaVision, the TV show,
Yeah.
to pop up in this movie, and they
Yeah.
didn't. And that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Well, there
Um,
was enough of it,
I
but
know,
yeah.
but they're very specific things.
I felt like
And-
first act switchover of her character was way too fast. Like, you know,
It
it
wasn't.
was
It wasn't a switch over though. That's so. So we'll get to that in spoilers though. We don't want to go into that too much. So
I know, but I'm just
We-
saying, like,
Yeah.
of like storylines and like just in general, I've been noticing this a lot in movies. The like, you know, because that's the main thing that has to change in order for the rest of the second act is the biggest chunk of the movie,
Yeah.
and in order for that to get there, you need a first act to have a conflict or whatever, and then you got to come up with the resolution. But like, I felt like it was just like, oh shit, like,
No, so that's not what it was. It was they had set
I
that up
know.
with the post credit scenes in
Yeah.
WandaVision, and it was just like I don't know. It was a reoccurring theme, and it probably made more sense as you watch the movie though, because as you see, this particular thing affects different people, and it fucks every single one of them up. So let's go into spoilers then, because I don't want to ruin anything, anyways. So go see this. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably have. But
it's
if
fucking
you're
Doctor
waiting-
Strange. It's Marvel.
dope.
You've seen it. Let's spoil it.
Yep. Okay.
Wait.
Okay, first off, a couple things with spoilers. One, I wanted Deadpool to show up in this movie really badly, really, really badly, really, 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 really badly.
Okay, so, this is going to be interesting though, because like it's a 20th Century Fox character. It's now a Marvel character.
Yep.
He is hard R, and that's why it works.
Yep.
I am very interested to see what Marvel is actually going to allow Deadpool to
Yeah.
be, because if they
Yeah.
fuck it up, it's going to be a bad move, and I don't think they
there's
understand what they have to do with their R. Like, they keep throwing everything at Hulu and stuff, and like, they don't need to do that. They have 20th Century Fox still that they can put these things
20th
under.
century, yeah. 20th
Yeah, like-
century, which is what they're going to do. They're going to put that out underneath it. What they've said,
Good.
from what I've heard, Deadpool, when he interacts in the PG-13 universe, with actual, Marvel MCU things, it's going to be PG-13. But his own thing's going to be rated R. So that's going to be like, which, I mean, all makes sense. And what I had heard and why I kind of hoped he was in this was that there had been rumblings that he was going to be the new Stan Lee, where every film was going to have like Deadpool showing up as like the new cameo, the kind of thing.
What?
And I was hoping that like it
It would
seemed
start
like such
now.
a good opportunity to like do this and like have him somewhere. And I'm like, God damn it. That's the other thing. Okay, there weren't, outside of the Illuminati, there weren't any major surprises in this film. And I also went in expecting this movie to set up X-Men, mutants, all this stuff. And it didn't, right? Like, it sets up like
It doesn't set up shit, man.
it sets up. It's okay. You know what it sets up? The thing that, and this is what one of the complaints I heard about going into this whole thing was, oh, this doesn't, Phase 4 is whatever. Phase 4 is setting up Secret Wars. That's what's setting up the whole thing. Secret Wars is the outcome of all this.
I think that's what
And
Ben said. Yeah.
Yeah, so Secret Wars is like when you have like the Kree or everywhere taking over, and you don't know who is who, and they've been setting it up all these movies like since the end of the second Spider-Man movie, right? And that's going there, and you have all these things, and you go, oh, okay, that's going to happen, but like I felt like this film didn't shake up the Marvel universe nearly as much as I expected it to, right? Like I expected
That's what I said. It's more bookend of Doctor
Yeah.
Strange as a character. It's just like,
Yeah.
he's fucked now. so we don't need to show him for a
But
bit.
they got old penis head Charlize Theron to show up and like be his love interest, and so like uh her haircut in those last couple of fucking fantastic
Well, that's what Marvel and Fast and the Furious are just
Yeah.
swapping characters now. It's just like, okay, you can have Captain Marvel, and we're gonna take Dickhead haircut.
Yeah. Well,
Dick hair.
nobody cares about working with Vin Diesel on Marvel because all he has to go is I am Groot. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think that like,
He is fucking up like his own franchise over there. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, if you hear everything about how badly he fucked up, you go, "Oh man, Vin, you fucking idiot." That dude is he's never come off as the brightest crayon in the box, but man,
Stop.
Stop, Vin. Stop.
Stop.
You should have learned. You should have realized that you were a fucking moron when you pissed off The Rock, like the most likable man in the world, The Rock, and you fucked that up. Come on, Vin.
Can I just say how much I loved Silent Hill? Like is that the first movie Elizabeth Olsen was in? I don't know why.
No, Marcy May Marlene was the first movie.
Oh right, but Silent House was so fucking good.
Yeah.
It was just that like one take, like creepo horror movie.
I haven't seen that movie. I saw part of it and then I get distracted and then never went back to it.
Oh, dude, it was awesome.
Okay, let's talk about that scene we were talking about, the murder scene. So let's acknowledge a couple things. Fucking John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic looked just as good as everyone imagined it had in all the fucking fan edits of him as Mr. Fantastic. John Krasinski, if they get him to come in and direct Fantastic Four now, that is just, it feels like gold, man. You get his wife to be Mrs. Fantastic. You get I don't think you could go with white.
Did your theater lose their minds like my theater did?
No.
Everyone was cheering and fucking going nuts.
I'm in an Alamo though, so like they kick you out for being loud. So like, yeah, it's
what?
Like you're not allowed to make. I mean, you're not allowed to talk and shit like that. Yeah, but
no, but like it's something that happens. Like
but yeah,
like
but it's
like fucking going nuts, man.
I don't know if it was that much. I don't know.
Then when he turned into fucking string cheese, I went nuts.
Play-Doh? She turned him into Play-Doh. It was like when you know those Play-Doh things where you like put Play-Doh in and it like puts 8 pieces that like in like look like spaghetti kind of. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
It was that, or when you know the cheese strings where you peel it.
Yeah, dude. But the fucking insane thing was they took Black Bolt from the whatever TV show that he was on back when it was ABC television, and the character can't talk. Sam Raimi blew that motherfucker's head up. Was the most brutal thing by far that's been in any one of these movies. Like they showed blood, like his head implodes, and you see blood.
Everyone in the theater was like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
But then also Xavier, like full on neck breaks. There was like she just destroys everyone, and that was where I was like, "This is hard PG-13 right now."
Yeah.
This whole thing. This is like Sam Raimi, like. Yeah, but I usually kill people and there's a lot of blood, so like I'm not even.
This movie was more violent than the original Resident Evil movie, just without Mia Jovovich's boobies, her nipples sticking out. Like this movie was violent in the second act, and dude, I have to say, when the movie turns,
yeah, I know, I was like this when all the violence was happening,
and you're like, oh, teenager body odor, is that what a zombie smells like? Oh, teenager body odor. But man, I have to say, the third act of this film is fucking. I said it before. Is so Sam Raimi. Like when he goes in dream walks into the dead Doctor Strange. It was
so dope.
Yeah, it's that's when it goes full Sam Raimi, including the spirits, like kind of like taunting him and fucking with him. That's so Sam. That's like the ghosts from like Drag Me to Hell, like the deadites from fucking Evil Dead, and it's just like, yes, Sam Raimi, yes, you be you. And I laugh at like they show it by the end of this movie. Scarlet Witch is such a powerhouse that nobody could stop. She stops herself. Like they were so like she's so fucking badass that she goes, yeah. I mean, and if you know anything about the comics, like Scarlet Witch is so powerful in the comics recent like a while ago, she did the No More Mutants. She spoke the words No More Mutants and killed 99 or 95%. There were like 200 mutants left. Like she killed every character that existed in like at all. Like so she killed X-Men and all this stuff. And it was in the time frame when Marvel was kind of upset that they didn't have X-Men anymore. And they were like, oh, we're just gonna wipe out all like X-Men disappeared out of comics for a while because of that. Like Marvel does not fuck around when it's like, no, we don't get our money and you don't get we're not gonna make comics for you to like, turn into movies and shit. And she is a powerful, powerful, powerful character. She's like one of the most powerful characters in the world. But the other thing that's cool about this, and then they set it up where in also one of the most badass lines of this whole film, where Scarlet Witch asks Mr. Fantastic about do his kids have a mother, and he's like, yeah, and she's like, oh well, at least they won't be orphans or whatever. Like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. And then the line is just like, it's so goddamn metal.
And then the cheesy metal comes on too. That it's
and
so.
which is the Sam Raimi is shit, man.
But
man,
that's what I said about my poster being a spoiler, because I do have the Illuminati logo or like thing. People don't know they're in the movie, but that's the like big spoiler thing.
Oh,
right?
I didn't realize that's what that was. Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
what they're called, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you get the eye, the Illuminati. That's what they call that logo with the eye.
I said the period instead of
it's an Illuminati.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, have you not seen Half Baked? The Illuminati. They're in the bushes, man. Red team go! Red team go!
Years, man. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Yeah, I love Half Baked. Dude, we also know that Scarlet Witch isn't dead because they didn't show a body, and if you don't,
of course, that's what Ben was like. I can't believe she's dead. I was like, they didn't show a body. Are you kidding me? I can't believe you even just said that, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you kidding me? And also, they already showed like 8 other Scarlet Witch like variants, right? And so,
and she just went into all the universes at once and just.
Yeah, she fucked up the Darkhold everywhere, man. That's the thing, right? Like, the Darkhold, you touch that Darkhold and read it for like 5 minutes, and you get fucked up. I mean, Doctor Strange used it at the end of that film for like 5 minutes to like dreamwalk, and he fucking corrupted him enough that he's got a third eye popping out of his head at the end of the film, right? That's why I was saying that the fucking
he's third eye blind.
God damn it, Scarlet Witch being what she is. She's been reading that fucking thing for months after the end of WandaVision, just sitting in the middle of nowhere and just fucking everything up. And you go, oh, okay. And I mean, that book was so powerful that it corrupted that other Doctor Strange into the point where the Illuminati had to kill him. Also, another metal thing where Black, whatever you call him, Black Bolt, just fucking nukes the motherfucker with his voice. He's just like, nah! And it's just like, okay, you're dead now. But man, it's a fan service, and it was so well done.
Yeah,
and
total
Sam
fan
Raimi
service.
Sam Raimi being the director he is, you just go, man, this motherfucker he's been good for so long. Like, he's on the list of directors now that when they're not around anymore, I'm gonna be a very sad panda. It's like up there with like Quentin Tarantino, him, like James Cameron, even though James Cameron
I want to do an Evil Dead Rise alt poster just to like do my own poster.
When does that come out? Is it like it's later this year, right? Is it like October? I don't know. We also have an Evil Dead game coming out this week on Friday, like the day after this podcast gets released. The Evil Dead game's coming out too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was funny. I was strolling through Twitter, and I'm watching videos like the Evil Dead game Twitter feed popped up, and fucking Riley from Slash and Cast, the guys who fucking formed this podcast network, is sitting there interviewing developers from the game on their like official Twitter feed. I'm like, that's fucking dope, so
nice.
We are part of the Slash and Cast podcast. I don't know if I said that earlier, but we are.
I don't
mean,
think
we're
so.
an hour and 4 minutes in. So I mean,
Yeah, just so you
now
know. Just so you know.
what is Slash and Cast, Josh?
It's in the game.
It's in the game. um.
I love that it's in our intro.
Yeah.
It's
I
in the
know.
game.
Yeah.
I want to
Makes
make a
me-
new one though.
Yeah. Man, I love Benedict Cumberbatch, man. The man is like such a talented actor, and he's like
Benedict
him and Olivia
Cumberbottom.
did you ever see the movie about him making the spy, like decoding spy messages in like England and during World War II?
Oh yeah.
And
That was
how
awesome.
it's such a tragedy because then they fucking chemically castrated him after because he's gay. He was gay.
Yep.
And then he killed himself. It's just like, oh, so sad, man. It's those stories where you like, oh my God, we are sucky individuals as human beings sometimes, man. We really are.
Oh, I know a few.
Yeah. You talked about it too, though. American Chavez is dope in this film, like as a new character who, she was originally going to be in Spider-Man. Like she was going to be the way, like that all the things were coming through into Spider-Man's world. But then like COVID fucked everything up and Spider-Man came out first. So they had to go, and that's why Doctor Strange was like, more in it. So it's interesting how that worked out. But man, so this is like, it really is it is a horror movie. It's like, it might not be like a super like scary horror movie, but it's a horror movie with like the monsters and demons, and it takes all the stuff from Marvel and stays in that PG-13 box, but it pushes those boundaries, man. You said it's a hard PG-13.
Yeah, very
But-
hard.
That's what she said. It's very hard. Giggity.
I love, but that's what I love for a little bit of time though, like Conjuring and that type of stuff. I was like, how are these? And I was like, wait a second, these are PG-13. They're just really well done and actually scary and PG-13.
No, The Conjuring's rated R, my friend.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in Canada. Everything's 14A here.
Yeah, The Conjuring's rated R, my friend.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, there was something that came out that was PG-13 that I was like, what? This is crazy. But like I said, we're in Canada. Our rating system goes PG, 14A, 18A, and then R is NC-17. So if it's 14A, that's essentially PG-13, but most R-rated movies are 14A in Canada. So we're a lot more relaxed on our rating system. And the only movies that I've seen in theaters actually rated R are Jackass movies because there's just a whole bunch of dicks in it. And no kids are allowed to see that shit unless they're 17.
The last Jackass movie had more dicks than every other Jackass movie combined. There were so many penis and balls in there.
I don't.
So many.
18A is for like super gory films or something, but like there's not an abundance of 18A movies ever either, right? Like
It's like Evil Dead, the remake, like 18A.
I
then?
think
Like,
even Deadpool was 14A in Canada. Like seriously.
dude, I will never not laugh at Brian Reynolds getting pegged during the original Deadpool, like during the montage of them like fucking around. That's Deadpool. I love him, man. Josh, if you're listening to this, he's wearing a Deadpool riding a unicorn shirt, which my wife just got the Pop
On a
Funko,
rainbow.
Of Deadpool riding a unicorn, and also Gizmo, his birthday's coming up in like today in 9 days, and he has a Deadpool with a unicorn thing, and Gizmo loves unicorn toys. They're like his favorite things in the world for some reason. And
Nice.
he was like throwing a temper tantrum the other day because he wanted his Deadpool, and we're like, no, you can't have it until your fucking birthday. You can't have it until your birthday. So, yeah.
Is she enjoying Uncharted?
She's watched Uncharted like a billion times.
No,
and
she's
yes.
literally watching Uncharted right now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. How's Uncharted, honey? Fine, bitch. This is the things I have to live with. Man, I don't even know if there's much like else like I haven't brought up. Like it really is a blast, man. And it's also short. It's like it's just like 2 hours. It's like not. They don't do the like end game where it's like 3.5 hours long, or whatever.
But it could. I don't know. Like that's
They're
what I'm saying.
supposed-
Like I don't think if they even, even if they spent a tiny bit more time in Bruce Campbell's world and gave him more stupidity, I would have. But that's just more fan service, right? Like he's the best cameo. He's the best. Like definitely stay after credits. It's fun. It's totally Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell just high-fiving an audience, and everyone else is just like, "Wait, that's what we get?" And people like us are like, "Hell yeah, fuck yeah!" He's like,
Man.
he's one of the best parts of the movie. Stupid pizza guy. Like what?
Dude, I heard that there was they cut 40 minutes of this film. Like the original cut was like 2 hours and 40 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see. But like we were talking about it before, I don't know what Disney is doing with this shit because like they put the fucking Spider-Man No Way Home out, which had a bunch of deleted scenes, some of them that were out and like put out on the internet, and didn't put any of them on the Blu-ray. Like the whole scene with like him and like
It's just on YouTube?
Yeah. It's not
What?
on the Blu-ray. It doesn't
What's
make
the
any
point of
fucking-
buying
Yeah.
physical media anymore if you're just gonna have it exclusively on fucking YouTube?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And man, like I said, those are the big like these aren't complaints, but I was really expecting them to set up mutants. I don't know how they're gonna set up mutants. They have like we have Thor: Love and Thunder is coming out here in a couple months.
It looks hilarious.
Dude, Taika Waititi, like Thor Ragnarok is one of the best Marvel movies, and if you don't agree, lick my dirty taint.
But I also love that they're using his actual son in real life to play his like younger self in the trailer when he's like running as a kid. That's his actual son in real life. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth is a very, very good looking man, and it is like it's funny because it's like a lot of these like action kind of guys aren't all that like Chris Pratt isn't that. He's not a bad looking dude, but Chris Hemsworth is up there with like the best.
But Chris Pratt is also like doing stupid shit off screen that it's just like, oh man, you're like one of those guys. Oh. And it makes me like not like you as much. But at the same time, to see James Gunn like
defend him on Twitter,
like full defend. It's just like, oh, so you're just gonna believe something that you heard third party from someone else that doesn't actually know him personally and then believe it? Yeah, go fuck yourself. And to be honest,
he burned some motherfucker real bad recently. Like that's real bad on Twitter.
That's fucking awesome though. Like good for James Gunn, to be honest, because like he got fucking it happened to him.
He got fired.
He got canceled.
That shit. Yep, exactly. So, is there anything else you want to go over with this, man? I can't think of anything else that I want to touch with because I'm excited where we go with Thor. I'm excited that Marvel has this like kind of thing.
I'm just excited for more accessible horror now, man. Like
me too, dude. We got within the Marvel universe, Moon Knight was very like touching dark aspects. We have the Werewolf by Night special coming out at Halloween, which is going to have that. We're going to have a setup of Werewolf by Night where Moon Knight appeared for the first time, and Blade, and the Black Knight from the Eternals, played by Jon Snow. So there's that whole dark universe, and there things like Ghost Rider can come in at some point. There's a lot of like really dark, horror-y stuff that can be coming out, and that is potential, and that this does well. And then the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus, there's a lot of exciting stuff for like people who like that darker kind of content, like that stuff. So I'm excited.
Moon Knight was good. I didn't watch the end credit scene. I didn't. I could just put it back on and watch it, but apparently there's an end credit scene that I didn't see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It sets up how Moon Knight continues, because if you don't watch that, Moon Knight looks like it's over. But
that's what I thought. Like, because it's Oscar Isaac. He's a pretty fucking big name to just have for like a TV show. He's in
He's
like
not-
every single fucking movie that's out in the last like 2 years. So I don't know.
He's gonna he's not. They're only doing the one series of that. He's gonna just start popping up in things with Blade and Black Knight and all that stuff. Like
Cool.
he'll probably be in the Blade movie. So and he'll be in the Werewolf by Night thing at Halloween. So I don't. Do you have anything you want to do next week, or I don't know? Like we had some reach outs about doing some other stuff.
Reach
so do you wanna
arounds? What?
I mean, reach rounds, but that's besides the point. Do you want to wait before declaring our next movie, and then we could tweet out about it, or what? Or do you have something you want to do?
I don't know. There's a few things to talk about, like accessible horror stuff that is like literally at people's fingertips. I like going in that direction every once in a while because we're doing like obscure movies sometimes. This is right in the movie theaters right now. I love it. But to like go out of our way sometimes to like pick a movie that's a Netflix movie or something like that, just to like to have it be, I don't know. Like there's that Choose or Die movie that has Robert Englund in it as well. I haven't heard the greatest things about it, but that's a potential. And
okay,
then there's
we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it
about
then.
it. There's
Okay.
also Wormwood Apocalypse that was just at Cuff that we could watch. I think it's whatever.
Okay.
There's
we'll
a few.
tweet out
There's a
about
few.
it like we do. So, okay, Josh. We are Murder Moose Pod on Twitter. I'm Roger_Johnson on Twitter. You're Josh WRB on Twitter. Twitch, you're Josh WRB. Go watch Josh do his posters. It's fucking a blast.
Or if you just want to see all the posters, joshwrb.com.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you for listening, you crazy motherfuckers. And we will see everyone next week with whatever the fuck we end up watching. So, everybody, we love you. Have a good one. And bye.